everybody. First of all, apologize that I am late. It is 11:15. Normally I like to get this started about 11, but as you are seeing, I am new to content creation. And I tell you what, folks, it's no joke. There is a lot of work that goes into it. Um so today, or actually this morning, I discovered that the YouTube channel that I had put together was it wasn't streamlined, because I'm in the process of building a new website, which will be called thebusinessmechanic.net. I have it. I am actually in the process of creating it as we speak. So with that, you have to work with DNS servers. You have to make sure your email addresses all line up. You have to get your domains to talk to each other, etc., etc., etc. Well, the YouTube channel that I had started was under the businessmechanic.com. And when I went to go buy that domain name, apologize. When I went to go buy that domain name, it would only let me have the businessesmechanic.com. Well, obviously that's not going to work. But however, the businessmechanic.net was available. So I bought that domain name. Well, my YouTube channel was still tied to the businessesmechanic.com. And as people get to know me, I'm very OCD. I like to have things exactly the way they should. I'm organized, especially when it comes to work and organizing, and I want everything to streamline and flow, which I have been talking about a lot this week on these lives. So I was just finishing that up this morning, with my new The Business Mechanic YouTube channel that is tied to my thebusinessmechanic.net website. That will be coming up here, hopefully by the end of today, maybe by Monday for sure. Anyway, we are concluding week 1 of leadership diagnostics. And today, day 5, we are talking about decision making and how that is the leader's responsibility. So let's dive right into it this morning. All right, first slide here. Why decision making defines leadership? Leaders are judged by the decisions they make. Indecisions erode trust. Clarity creates confidence. And action creates momentum. All right, so these are all very key parts to having a successful leader that works within your organization. One second, sorry. I'm getting my stuff together. Just bear with me today. So, just like yesterday, I didn't realize it until it was too late that I didn't have my microphone going. But anyway, back to this. So, leaders are judged by the decisions they make. So, what leaders need to do here is they have to be very, hi Bob, welcome in. They have to be very pointed when they make decisions. Because if you want people to follow you and have trust in you, you have to be able to make good, sound decisions, not only for the company, but also for your employees. Because good decision making creates more trust with your employees. Now, if you have a lot of indecision and you're constantly going back on the decisions that you make, people will start to lose trust that you have the ability or the capability to make decisions as a leader. And when your leaders that are responsible for you start to see that you're very indecisive when it comes to making decisions, they will in turn maybe start questioning, is this person the right leader? So that's why when we make decisions as leaders, we want them to be as clear as possible. And we want to make sure that we define the action of the decision because that creates momentum. So, what are the costs of poor decision making? Well, I mean, a lot of us on here can probably already answer that question. But one, it delays and creates confusion. Well, if you are creating delay, so like especially in the automotive repair shop world, right? So if you are creating a delay in the process of checking into putting things into the shop and you're not making the right decisions, right? Then you are creating delays, which creates confusion, which in turns creates people that are upset because sometimes speed is money, but I want to make sure that not only do we have speed, but it is the correct speed. One second, folks. So I apologize for that slight delay there. But what we have to understand is, yeah, so you create confusion, and then on top of that, your teams will lose direction, right? So that's going to cause even more delays, and then accountability becomes impossible, right? So if we're not making the right decisions and we're creating delays and confusion and our team has no direction, accountability becomes impossible because we're not setting, if we can't make the right decisions, we can't set the proper expectations, right? So if we have a job duty in front of our, that we put in front of our teams for them to complete, and we're constantly indecisive about the expectations that we set for them, the team is going to lose direction. And then we're going to create delays, which is going to create confusion. And the person or the individuals that pay for it the most is your customers. So then what happens from that? Then your culture drifts towards chaos. Now, when you start lining this all up, you can see that leadership is very, very important role. And you have to be able to make good, I guess, good, smart decisions for your teams. Because as you can see, as I've lined out here, it is extremely important to, one, make sure you do your research. Two, make sure you've asked all the right questions. Three, make sure you've involved all of your team in the decision making. And then four, line it out, set the expectations. So now everybody knows exactly what their job duty is, what they are supposed to do. You are now have the proper expectation set so accountability can be a piece of it, and your culture stays positive because everybody's on the same page. Nothing is worse than having a group of people and everybody's on a different page, and it's created by the leader. Because the leader will go and have a different conversation with individuals. And a lot of times a leader will not do that, but that's your micromanager that I talked about yesterday. Your micromanager will create a lot of confusion amongst the team because they have to micromanage every individual. And it creates chaos. So, the anatomy of a good decision. You have a clear objective. You have accurate information. You have defined the constraints. You take ownership of the outcome. And it has timely execution. So like what I was talking about yesterday. With micromanagers, they don't worry about the outcome because they feel that if you do step 1 through 5, exactly the way they wanted you to do it, the outcome is going to be the outcome, which is very incorrect, right? Now, if I set the clear expectations, I empower my team, I set the objective, I get accurate information, and I will go ahead and identify any constraints that may come about. And then I also leave that conversation up to the team to have with me as well, because even as a great leader, you're not always going to know what those constraints are. So bring in your people to have that conversation as well. And as a good leader, take ownership of the outcome of your team. But if you set your team up for success and you give your team all of these tools, you'll have no problem owning the outcome because it's going to be a positive one. Now, decision making versus delegation, right? Leaders will decide the direction. Teams will decide execution. Micromanager will steal the decisions, and empowerment is distributing the decisions. All right, let me break that down for you. A leader will come in, meet with its team, their team, and it will decide the direction for the team with collaboration of that team. Then the team will decide on how it'll be executed. A team cannot execute if you don't give them the power to do so. And that's where micromanagers lose. Micromanagers will take all the decisions, make all the decisions, and they will give you step 1 through 5, and they won't let you deviate from that. That's why micromanagement creates dependency. Everybody is going to depend on the micromanager because they have set, and they don't even set clear expectations. A micromanager by trade is a very indecisive person because they are fearful of mistakes. A good leader understands mistakes are going to happen. And a good leader is going to try to identify any of those constraints that may lead to a mistake. But if a mistake was to happen, a good leader will embrace that mistake and will work with the team or the individual to fix it. So from there, the leader will decide the direction, and then the leader will leave it up to the team, right, to make the right decisions to get to the outcome or the goal that we have set forward or we have set in place. Now, speed versus precision. Not every decision needs perfect data. Leaders must know when good enough is enough. Slow decisions will kill momentum, and fast decisions will build trust. But be very careful with the fast decisions. I have it on this slide only because fast decisions will continue to build trust and create momentum. But be careful to not allow emotion create fast decisions. Because like I've said in other videos, if you are making an emotional decision, I can probably tell you with about 90% certainty it's going to be the wrong decision. Because an emotional decision takes out all of the step-by-steps on making the right decision. Because you're using your emotion to make the decision. And a lot of times, our emotions when we are making a decision are in a negative sense. So you're going to make the wrong decision. But if once you start to create cohesiveness within inside your team and you're using accountability to create rhythm and you are empowering your team, you can then make fast decisions because everything else is already in line, like creating or setting the right expectations. And then you must know that good enough is enough, right? Micromanagers, it's never good enough. You can never please a micromanager. Never. And as you can try so hard to please them, but you can't. Their makeup is just won't allow it because they have to have control of all of the situations. They have to have control of the narrative. But if you want to build a team that's going to have success and they're going to be proficient, which they're productive and efficient at the same time, you lead that team. And if there's anybody on here that feels that micromanagement is the only way to get job duties done, I will challenge you. I will challenge you. I will be more than happy to fly anywhere in the United States and I will build a team off of leadership and empowerment, and then you can build a team off of micromanagement. And I will show you that the team built by leadership and these tools that I am showing you will win every time. Every time. Now, what is that loop? All right, so how does a leader create the right decisions or make the right decisions? One, a leader is very observant. They observe, they look at everything that's around them, they listen, they read, they look, they understand, then they interpret. And if they can't interpret what they are observing, they will ask the questions to make sure that they understand what they're observing correctly. Then they will take what they've observed, what they've interpreted, and then they will decide what is best for the team. And then they're going to communicate that. And then once that's communicated, they will sit there and then review that with the team and to make sure that everybody on the team is on the same page and are in agreement of the decision that the leader has made and put in front of them. It's as simple as that. Now, decision making under pressure. When you are under pressure making a decision, be very careful that that does not turn into an emotional decision, which I have repeated on this video and I have repeated on other videos, that emotional decisions are normally the wrong decisions. So, when you are getting ready to make a decision and you're under pressure, I would challenge you to write these down, put them on a post-it note, put them on your desk, on your laptop, wherever. So you can see these and you can start training your mind to know these like that, right? One, most important, stay calm. With me, over the years, I have learned and have taught myself how to stay calm. And I've gotten to the point now in my career that as the pressure rises, I get calmer. With micromanagers, it drives them absolutely insane because micromanagers, they have to match the intensity that is going on. So if there is chaos and there's confrontation and there's yelling, a micromanager has to meet that. They don't know how to do anything else. Next, reduce all the variables. And what that means is take out everything that is pressuring you right now that has nothing to do with the decision you are getting ready to make. Prioritize principles. Understand what your core principles are and what your non-core principles are, your variable principles. Okay? Communicate clearly. When things get crazy around me and they get chaotic and the team is a little bit on edge and I am under pressure, I communicate slower. I'm very precise on how I use my words. I enunciate very clearly. And I've actually slowed my heartbeat down. I've slowed myself down so I could properly articulate what needs to happen next. Because When other people are under pressure and they're in a chaotic scenario, their minds are going rapidly. So, what I'm trying to do is I try to stay very mundane. I lower my voice. I stay calm. I speak clearly and I speak slow. Because what that does is that will instill calm in your team. So if your team is chaotic and they're under pressure and they don't know what to do and they look at their leader and their leader is extremely calm, they will in turn become calm with you. I have learned over the years with just on customer service things that when customers are upset and they yell, I never match. I never match them. I stay calm. I'll actually go backwards. I will come down. And every time the customer will always come back down to me. And the majority of the time they will apologize for yelling. It's the craziest thing. But practice that. If you are somebody that is watching this today and you are in customer service, practice calm. Learn how to be calm. Understand how to get more calm as the pressure increases. And then own the outcome. Be confident, right? So when I'm confident about the decision I'm about to make, I don't get chaotic and I don't fall under pressure because I'm confident in the decision that I am about to make and share with my team is going to be the right one. So this is very important, guys, very important. Now, how great leaders make decisions. One, they don't guess. Oh my goodness, that is the biggest mistake a lot of people make. I learned very early on in my career. I had a meeting with a senior vice president, and we were going over P&Ls in a book like this thick, going over our budget and the P&Ls, all the GL codes, all the journal entries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if there's anybody on here that worked with me at this company, you'll know of the person that I'm talking about. And as we were in conversation, he asked a question. And he said, Sean, yada, 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 yada. I didn't know the answer. So I guessed it. I BS'd it. And he took his binder, slammed it shut, and proceeded to teach me, I say that very quote unquote, how important it is to never guess or basically bullshit. And ever since then, I have learned don't guess. They don't delay. They don't outsource responsibility. I'll come back to that one. They don't hide behind committees, and they choose communication and movement. Now, where it says they don't outsource responsibility. Okay. When you are, let's say you're a business owner, and you have a new manager, right? A new leader. And you start setting out their job duties, their job expectations, and you've noticed, or let's not say noticed, but over time, let's say there was a mistake made by one of the team members. I want you to pay very close attention on how that leader notifies you of that situation. If you have a leader that comes in and says, well, so and so created this, I'm cleaning it up. It's not a leader. They're outsourcing the responsibility. They're putting it on somebody else, meaning they're not accepting the fault of it, right? They're saying, hey, so and so created it, I'm here to fix it. But what a true leader does is a true leader says, hey, here's the situation. This is what happened. I've gone ahead and created the solution. We've done fixed it and we're moving on. A true leader will never, ever say, so and so did this. They'll never do it. They'll never do that. A leader knows that everybody that he is or she is responsible for, that takes on a great responsibility. And they will not deflect. They'll never outsource it. They'll accept it. And they will go on to the next part. So, this week, today, what is your challenge for today? At the end of these videos, I like to propose some sort of a challenge for you. Something for you to take away from this video and use. Okay? Here's your challenge for today. Okay, where are you hesitating? Think about that. So when you're making decisions, is there any particular place that you hesitate the most at? Okay? What decision have you avoided today, yesterday, or this week? Okay? And what would change if you made that decision today using the tools that I have discussed in today's video? Okay. So, this concludes this week of Leadership Diagnostics. This is my first week at this. And like I said in the beginning, content creation is definitely no joke. There's definitely a lot of work behind it. So I have mad respect for the people that are doing this on a continued basis. I applaud them because there is a lot of work behind it. Now, going forward, now that we lead into next week, I apologize. I'm trying to find something. I thought I had put it on here, but I must not have. Okay. All right. I found it. All right. 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up so you guys can see this as well. So, like I was saying, we this was the first week of Leadership Diagnostics. This is my new business that I am working at building, and it's called, as you can see, The Business Mechanic. Up above is a link to my YouTube page, and as you can see, I have about 1,400 followers, and I'm trying to grow that audience. I'm trying to build a network of business mechanics. And I'm also here to come to your place of work or to your business and do a free consultation. I will do an overview of your business and see if we can identify any gaps, anything that we need to work on. And if we need to, then we'll work together and we'll start putting together a game plan. Okay? So next week, we're going to talk about people and the systems that we design. Day 1 is going to be recruiting and interviewing, how we do that. Day 2, we're going to talk about the importance of onboarding and training. Day 3, we're going to talk about performance management and what tools are you using to make sure that you are having those conversations with your teams about their performance. Are you doing 90-day reviews? Are you being disciplined with those reviews? And then day 4, I'm going to talk about culture and conflict resolution, how we design a positive culture and how we resolve conflict when it comes. And then 5, this is going to be directly for employees on how to get yourself promoted. I'm really excited to jump into next week. So for this week, I appreciate everybody that has watched this week. The list has definitely grown. We started day 1 with about 1 or 2 viewers, and we have grown to about 50 to 60 today. So thank you so much if you have been tuning in this week. Make sure you hit that follow button and get the updates. Make sure you go to my YouTube channel and click subscribe. And as all I do in all these closings, be kind and let's get to work. I'll see you guys next week on the next video. Take care and be safe.